Princess Anne just dropped a royal truth bomb that shook Buckingham Palace to its core. In a stunning confrontation, she revealed a long-hidden secret allegedly buried by Queen Camilla for years, and King Charles was left speechless. No spin, no warning, just raw, cold truth. Royal aides scrambled, public polls exploded, and now the monarchy is on the edge. What did Camilla hide? And why is Anne exposing it now? The fallout? It's only just begun. Princess Anne shocks Charles with a stunning revelation. No one saw it coming. Princess Anne, the no-nonsense royal known for her sharp instincts and firm loyalty to tradition, just dropped a bombshell that left King Charles III frozen in shock. During a quiet yet formal meeting inside Clarence House, Anne revealed she had recently come across a long-buried truth tied to Queen Camilla's past involvement in palace affairs. Sources say she didn't hold back. Her voice was steady, her words piercing. "I believe the truth has waited long enough," she said. The moment she finished, those present claimed Charles was left completely speechless. "He just stared, unsure what to say," one insider told a tabloid. It wasn't just surprise, it was as if the floor had dropped beneath him. Courtiers jumped into action. Damage control became the new royal mission. Communications aides were rushed in. The palace press team was instructed to delay any public comments until they could piece together the full story. By the end of that day, royal fans exploded online. Reaction polls went sky high. Hashtags trended globally. And just like that, a new royal mystery was born. Now the question echoed everywhere. What exactly did Anne reveal? The backstory: long-standing tension between Anne and Camilla. To understand the weight of Anne's move, you have to go back decades. Back to a time when Princess Anne and Camilla Parker Bowles had a complicated, chilly dynamic. They once shared a connection to the same man, Andrew Parker Bowles, and even though that drama faded, the awkwardness never fully disappeared. One source put it bluntly: it was tense from day one. Anne, always loyal to tradition, wasn't quick to embrace Camilla's climb in the royal hierarchy. In private circles, it was whispered that Anne believed certain royal roles should be earned through service, not scandal. When Camilla officially became queen consort in 2022, their icy relationship seemed to thaw slightly, but the history lingered. They were never seen as warm companions. In fact, insiders say they often avoided long conversations at events. So when Anne stood up and made her claim, it didn't just feel shocking. It felt personal. A reminder that old tensions never truly disappear in the royal world. But what exactly was Camilla accused of hiding all these years? What did Anne uncover? That's where things get even murkier. What was claimed to have been hidden by Camilla? Whispers around the palace grew louder after Anne's revelation. The claim that Camilla, long before becoming queen consort, had quietly kept secret a set of private communications and palace strategies, never disclosed to the family or press office. These weren't just old notes or gossip. Insiders say it involved early 2000s messaging tactics, where Camilla allegedly influenced how certain royal scandals were managed, including her own. One name kept popping up: Camillagate. Though not directly tied to Anne, the echoes of that scandal, leaked calls, intimate tapes, and public embarrassment, remind everyone how deep royal image control can go. Camilla was always 2 steps ahead in the press game, one former aide admitted. But Anne's accusation was different. She said these hidden strategies were never logged, never shared, and some may have directly shaped how the public saw Princess Diana, Charles, and even the late Queen Elizabeth II. Anne ended her message with a simple line: "Transparency matters now more than ever." That shook the room, because if Camilla did play a hidden hand in crafting royal stories, what else hasn't been revealed? And now, all eyes turned to King Charles. King Charles's immediate reaction. The moment Anne finished speaking, everything went still. King Charles, usually calm and composed, looked completely thrown off. He just stared ahead. No nod, no sigh, no comment, a senior staffer revealed. It was like he froze. It was rare. Charles is known for his controlled public face. But this caught him off guard like nothing else. Some insiders even claimed they hadn't seen him this shaken since Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022. Within the hour, senior aides were already drafting talking points, debating whether to respond or stay silent. But Charles's next move said it all. He requested a private meeting with Anne immediately, behind closed doors, no press allowed. He needed to hear the full story, one source said, from her mouth, not through whispers. Rumors swirled through Buckingham Palace by sundown. Staff whispered that Charles was unprepared, blindsided by both the timing and the message. It was clear. This wasn't just family drama. This was a royal reckoning. But even more shocking, how Anne chose to deliver it. Anne's statement breaks royal protocol traditions. Princess Anne isn't known for drama. She's known for duty, blunt honesty, and staying far from the spotlight. But this time, she shattered royal norms without blinking. During a formal internal gathering in Windsor, Anne stood and, in front of senior palace aides, delivered the revelation herself. No memo, no warning, just straight talk. She didn't sugarcoat a thing, said one staffer. It was cold, sharp, and exact. Her tone, described as measured but unflinching. Anne reportedly said, "There are things that have been kept quiet too long. The family deserves to know. The public will decide the rest." For a royal to break protocol in that way, especially someone as private as Anne, was almost unheard of. Normally, even serious concerns are raised behind multiple closed doors, filtered through advisors and protocol officers. But Anne? She skipped every filter. She knew what she was doing, a palace source explained. She didn't whisper. She didn't ask for permission. She spoke as a sister, not a subject. Even veteran palace insiders were stunned. Some applauded her courage. Others said it opened dangerous floodgates. Either way, one thing was clear. Anne's words had changed the game. And outside the palace, the storm was just beginning. Social media and press erupt. Within 30 minutes, the story exploded. The moment someone inside leaked a hint of Anne's statement, it lit up headlines across the world. Social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube were swarmed with speculation. Hashtags like #CamillaHiddenTruth, #AnneSpeaks, and #SpeechlessCharles trended worldwide. Tabloids moved fast, front pages plastered with phrases like Anne's truth bomb and royal secrets exposed. One post alone gained over 2 million views in under 3 hours. Is this the biggest royal truth drop since Megxit? One royal commentator asked. Others compared it to the Diana Panorama interview, but said this one had a twist. It came from inside the palace walls. YouTubers, royal watchers, and late-night hosts jumped on the story. Speculation ran wild, some accurate, most exaggerated. but the damage was already done. The palace, clearly caught off guard, issued a short, vague statement by 10 p.m. "These matters are being reviewed privately. We ask for patience and discretion." But it was too late. As one tweet put it best, "The monarchy doesn't control the narrative anymore. The internet does." And as the noise grew louder, the palace found itself cornered. Now, Camilla's defenders had no choice but to speak. Allies rally to defend Camilla. Just hours after Princess Anne's truth bomb detonated across headlines and social media feeds, Queen Camilla's inner circle went into full response mode. This wasn't just media management. This was reputation warfare. From Clarence House to royal-approved press outlets, longtime aides, personal confidants, and carefully selected royal commentators began circling the wagons. Their mission was clear: protect Camilla at all costs. This entire situation has been blown completely out of context, one palace insider told The Telegraph with urgency in their voice. Another commentator, long seen as sympathetic to Camilla's journey into royal life, added, "There's no secret plot here. Camilla has always acted in service to the crown, not in pursuit of power." They painted her as a peacemaker, not a puppet master, a woman who, for over 25 years, stood firmly beside King Charles, weathering public scorn, personal attacks, and constant comparisons to Princess Diana. They reminded the public how Camilla, once the most hated woman in Britain, had quietly reshaped her image through grace, endurance, and strategic silence. Supporters pointed to her charity work, with causes like osteoporosis awareness and domestic abuse support, her poised demeanor during Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in 2022, and her key role in organizing Charles's coronation in May 2023, where she was crowned Queen Consort after years of careful image rehabilitation. "People forget how much she's sacrificed," one senior courtier claimed. "She didn't ask for this spotlight. She married a man she loved and accepted the consequences. She's always put the family and the crown first." As for the now infamous hidden communications Anne claimed Camilla kept private, her defenders didn't deny they existed, but they fiercely denied they were damaging. Everyone has private letters, private exchanges, especially in the royal family. That's not secrecy. That's privacy, said one longtime aide close to Camilla. They insisted the messages were likely personal, related to family matters or internal planning, and never intended to influence royal hierarchy or damage reputations. But while the palace defenders worked around the clock to control the narrative, the public mood had already shifted. In just 48 hours, public opinion polls reported a 14-point drop in Camilla's favorability, with the sharpest declines coming from younger royal watchers and international audiences who had embraced Anne's straight-talking style. Online discussions turned heated. Comment sections were filled with people revisiting old footage, past headlines, and conspiracy theories that had long been buried. The name Camillagate, once tucked away in 90s tabloids, suddenly resurfaced across Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube. Even neutral royal reporters began questioning why these alleged communications had never been mentioned before. If they were harmless, one BBC journalist asked on air, why weren't they disclosed sooner? Inside the palace, despite the outward show of confidence, the mood was described as frantic. The Queen Consort's advisors were holding hourly calls, planning her next appearances, and pushing positive stories into the media cycle. Some even feared another leak could follow. Something worse. "This isn't just bad press," one former press secretary said privately. "This is trust erosion, and it's spreading fast." As the headlines roared louder, The message from Camilla's camp was crystal clear. She will not step back. She will not apologize, and she will not be painted as a villain again. But the question remained, was this defense too little, too late? And if Anne had opened the door to buried truths, how many more were waiting behind it? Royal family divisions intensify behind closed doors. Inside the storied walls of Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere turned ice-cold within hours. After Princess Anne's revelation spread like wildfire across news outlets and social media, a high-level emergency meeting was called, fast-tracked within 24 hours. Gathered in the palace's white drawing room, a select group faced off in what insiders now describe as one of the most tense royal strategy sessions since the days following Prince Harry and Meghan's departure in 2020. In attendance were King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and several of the most senior palace advisors. Every face in that room carried the weight of legacy, loyalty, and fear. It wasn't shouting, but it was close, one palace source revealed. There was a sharp edge in every voice. Every word was measured but heavy. Some pushed hard for immediate transparency. They argued that silence would only feed conspiracy theories and allow the press to twist the story beyond repair. Prince William, reportedly protective of Anne and concerned about long-term public trust, is said to have told aides, "This can't be brushed aside. If we don't lead the story, the internet will." But others took a far more cautious stance. One seasoned advisor warned, "If we air every disagreement, we lose what makes us royal. Dignity is restraint." There was no consensus. The room was split. Some viewed Anne as a hero, a loyal sister putting integrity above protocol. Others saw her as a liability, accusing her of blowing open family matters that should have remained private forever. One courtier called her move a thunderclap that no one authorized. Camilla reportedly remained composed, but visibly shaken, silent for most of the meeting. Her gaze stayed fixed, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Behind the public smile she'd maintained that morning, insiders say she was livid. Yet, she said nothing. King Charles, usually the one to mediate with calm authority, appeared torn. According to a staffer, he was deep in thought, not angry, but wounded. The betrayal wasn't just political, it was personal. Even Princess Kate, though not present in the meeting, was said to be closely monitoring the situation from Adelaide Cottage, offering private counsel to William and reportedly expressing support for Anne's right to speak her truth, if done with purpose. Behind the scenes, the deeper concern began to grow. Was this the beginning of a new era of royal exposure? If Anne was willing to reveal a decades-old truth about Camilla, what else might come next? Staff whispered in corridors. Former press officers were quietly contacted. Even foreign correspondents started digging into old files, looking for connections that might confirm Anne's claim or uncover more. One senior aide summarized the mood best. "We're not just managing fallout anymore. We're managing fear. Everyone's asking, who speaks next?" The unity that once held the monarchy firm now felt fragile. The dividing lines were clear. Tradition versus transparency. Control versus honesty. Image versus truth. And as whispers turned into warnings, it became clear. This wasn't just a crisis. This was the beginning of a potential royal unraveling. Historical context. Why this matters. To the outside world, this may seem like just another royal squabble. But for those who know the history of the monarchy, this moment lands differently, because it strikes at the very foundation of how the royal family survives scandal. For centuries, the British monarchy has thrived on one golden rule: never complain, never explain. Internal conflicts were always handled quietly. Disputes were settled behind closed doors, then buried. That's what kept the image of stability alive, even when chaos reigned inside the palace walls. But this time, that silence was shattered, and by none other than Princess Anne, the most loyal and reserved royal of them all. Her decision to speak, and to speak publicly within palace walls, sent a clear message: the old rules may no longer work. Flashbacks to previous scandals flooded the media. Reporters brought up Camilla-gate from the early 1990s, those infamous leaked tapes between Charles and Camilla that embarrassed the royal family and shook the public's trust. Back then, the palace managed to regain control after months of spin and damage control. Then came Diana's Panorama interview in 1995, a moment that redefined royal media forever. That too was an internal truth spilled onto public airwaves. The fallout? A royal divorce and a monarchy scrambling to modernize. Now, Anne's revelation is being placed in the same category, but with one crucial twist. This time, the challenge didn't come from a rebellious outsider. It came from within, from a blood royal, from the king's own sister. As one historian said on a late-night panel, "If Anne is the one lifting the veil, what else is behind it?" Traditionalists within the establishment are horrified. They argue that internal revelations, no matter how true, should never be aired, not even to other royals, without years of vetting and approval. They fear the institution's credibility is eroding, one crack at a time. But a new wave of younger royal fans, and even some constitutional scholars, are saying the opposite. They argue that transparency is the only way forward, that in a digital age, silence isn't power, it's suspicion. The monarchy doesn't live in a vacuum anymore, said one political analyst. Every secret is a ticking clock. You either release the truth or someone else will. That's why Anne's moment matters. It's not just about what Camilla may or may not have hidden. It's about whether the royal family will continue living under the weight of its own silence, or finally face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. And now, with the world watching, King Charles must decide which path to take. But time is running out. The aftermath and what's next. Since Princess Anne's bombshell, the palace has been anything but quiet. Within 72 hours, King Charles launched a full-scale response, not just damage control, but a personal tour of one-on-one consultations with senior advisors, communications chiefs, and select family members. According to one source, Charles wants to hear it all, every angle, every fact, every feeling. It's said he spent over 5 hours behind closed doors in Sandringham, speaking with trusted aides and preparing for what could become a historic palace statement. Meanwhile, Princess Anne has remained calm, seen heading to royal events with her usual firm expression, offering no further comments. But she's become the center of the storm. Headlines praise her courage, while others question her timing. She said what she believed needed to be said, one close friend of Anne told reporters. She didn't act for drama. She acted for duty. As for Queen Camilla, she's reportedly been deeply affected. Friends say she's felt bruised by the public backlash, especially after years of rebuilding her image. Still, she's continuing with her duties, even smiling during public appearances, though insiders note her mood behind the scenes is quiet and tense. Public opinion polls have shifted sharply. In just under a week, Camilla's approval rating fell by 14%. Anne's popularity spiked by 22%, especially among older Britons. Trust in the monarchy overall dipped by 9%. Meanwhile, Prince William is said to be working in the background, attempting to bridge the divide. He respects Anne, a palace source explained, but he also understands the pressure his father and stepmother are under. He's trying to keep things from boiling over. But the larger question looms. Will the monarchy address the claims head-on or retreat into silence? There are growing calls for a royal transparency charter, something that's never existed before, a formal way to manage truths within the firm, to stop these explosive moments before they make headlines. And now, the public is waiting. Will the palace break tradition and speak clearly for once? Will Anne face consequences for speaking out, or be praised as the voice the monarchy needed? And perhaps most importantly, what else hasn't been revealed yet? Because in the world of royalty, one secret is never alone. And this one might just change everything. This wasn't a tabloid twist or a staged distraction. This was Princess Anne, the crown's most loyal and least dramatic voice, stepping into the center of a royal storm and delivering a revelation that stunned the monarchy. King Charles, blind-sided and frozen, now faces a crossroads: protect the past or confront it. Queen Camilla's decades of image rebuilding are under siege. Her allies insist there's nothing sinister behind the hidden details, but the court of public opinion is turning fast. With trust in the monarchy already fragile, this moment could define the future of the royal family. Princess Anne's bold move has opened a door that won't easily close. What else is waiting to come out? Will the palace finally address the truth? Or will silence speak louder? One thing is clear: the royal family is no longer just battling scandal. They are fighting for control of the narrative. And as the world watches every move, one question hangs in the air. Is this the beginning of a new royal reckoning, or the unraveling of the crown's oldest secrets? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.